2025. This meeting is being held in person. It can also be viewed on local cable channel 1303 or on the internet by accessing bucksportmaine.gov and selecting agenda and minutes and choosing this meeting and clicking on the video button next to the meeting. Questions or comments may be submitted during the meeting by emailing rich.rotella@bucksportmaine.gov or during the meeting by calling 307-8030. Roll call, John Paul Lalonde.
Here.
Larry Wall.
Here.
Paul Rabs.
Present.
Ron Russell's absent. Dick Peterson.
Here.
Steve Bishop.
Here.
Joe DeVonzo.
Yep.
Josh Tripp is absent, and Mark Eastman's here. Item 2, discussion on the 2025 MERSEP report.
Has everyone had a chance to look at this report?
Yep.
This was a report as part of a grant between the town of Bucksport, Jera Americas, they own the power plant, HRA advisors, folks who advised us throughout the course of this grant, Maine Economic and Community Development, where the grant came from, and then the Maine Governor's Energy Office. So the Penobscot River Industrial Site Pre-Development Strategy is the subtitle of this. I'm sure everyone knows where the site's located, but it's the industrial portion of the former mill site. We met for roughly 4 to 5 months. We had some on-site visits, lots of meetings. Is there anything anyone wanted, had any questions or concerns about? Wanted any information, further information?
Can you give me a 10,000? I haven't had a chance to look at it at all. Just
So similarly to Adapt, we went through and figured out our assets with the land, who owned what over on the site, and trying to figure out what type of projects would work well in conjunction with the already established power plant for clean energy projects. And some of the ones that were identified, solar, battery backup, also, gosh, the name's escaping me right now. Biofuels, hydrogen, battery energy, data centers, that's the one right there, and maritime logistics and distribution were some of the ones. They were then ranked sort of like heart and soul priorities, high, mediums, and low. Site reuse goals, obviously growing the town's commercial tax base was high on the list. Clean energy generation was another high on there. Add additional power demand to the grid, and then local job growth. Because when you're talking data centers, you're talking a lot of jobs to get it up and running, but afterwards you're not talking about very many jobs, but you are talking about a lot of tax revenue when you're talking about buildings like that. So just like Heart and Soul right here with the different rankings and how everything played out. And this was a combination of conversation with Jera Americas and the town of Bucksport. So goal number 1, grow the town's commercial tax base. For clean energy generation, it was weighted at 50%, low to high for clean energy. Battery storage was a medium. Data center information uses was high, and maritime logistics and distribution medium. Goal number 2, deploy clean energy generation. That was a weighted goal of 20. So clean energy generation was a medium to high. Battery storage was medium. Data centers and maritime logistics were both given non-applicables. And that is, I believe that was because more of to do with the river and the rise of the tides and the resiliency of the site to handle something like that, unless it was on a different parcel than what JERA owns.
Who came up with the different categories? Was this a whole gaggle of people, or was this the power plant people coming? Who?
Town manager Lassard and myself,
Uh-huh.
members of the JERA Americas team, the town manager and myself ranked the commercial tax base the highest. And the local job growth the lowest.
Were there any other uses that were explored in regards to any of the rail that we've discussed for opening up the rail line? Was there anything that involved that on this?
You mean the continued use of as rails?
Yeah, for the train to open up. Right now it's exempt, it's shut down, but was there any options that showed that use?
We talked about it. There were a few things that we talked about that there was no feedback or answers from people, so it had to. There was not much we could do if people weren't willing to come to the table.
Okay.
I.e. people who own land over there and who own the rail. Unfortunately, the rail got back to me after this report was already completed.
What was the take with your conversations from them? Are they open and willing to discuss options, or what's?
Nope, he said he was gonna refer me to someone else, and that was the last of the conversation. That wasn't his specialty.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
They are talking about the advanced community resiliency, and they're talking about the flood mitigation. They're talking about just where their site is, not along.
Right, that site right there. And it's not the entire site. So when we were over there, we went to the power plant and we went into the office building. So the office building is closest to the shore. And you could see where the water damage from, not this past year, but last year, the year prior, where it did a lot of the damage to the waterfront, it did a lot of eroding away over there as well. So that's something for them to keep in mind, that if you're gonna build anything in that low point that gets a lot of the rushing tide,
So
that they'd have to make some adjustments.
would they, if in the future, whatever, would there anything there that they would intend to do, would they pass that through the town first, or would they just take it upon their own? Because that could affect the waterfront here, anything they do, because the water going up on there, if it's gonna be blocked off and pushed into downstream, which would be against us, that would affect and add to the height of the water on the waterfront here.
So you're speaking resiliency only? So if they were to put in, for example, you're saying if they were to put in a seawall, would they have to come to us first?
Yeah.
I believe they would
If not
potentially
DEP.
have to talk to code office. I would think, but I'm not 100% certain. It's something I can ask the code officer.
Just because we are very particular here, because if it was just a glass and you're pouring water from a pitcher, it rises up. But if you put a hole in it, you keep filling, it's gonna come out. And that's what this is, between the river there and then that current coming up when there's a heavy storm, it pushes it down here, everything. Instead of
I
going
would think
just up.
anything they did would have to
That's what happened, that's why down here was all
go
flooded out.
before the shoreline zoning ordinance of the town.
Or Army Corps of Engineers.
Or Army Corps of Engineers, yeah.
Because you have to do that when you put a dock in, DEP.
Army Corps and DEP, yeah.
I think it would be more them than, as much them as anybody.
Yeah, but I think John Paul's right. I think they'd have to still come to Luke on maybe a phase one review with the planning board as well. But I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not the subject expert.
I was
on
just a
that.
concern, because I saw, naturally everything gets pushed this way. And if they put up a high seawall, it's gonna get pushed this way even more. It was just a thought.
Yeah, no, I know, and I agree. Army Corps and DEP sound like the two departments that would definitely be involved in something like that if they were to do something. So just a few other things, maintaining the site security. So if you try to get to JERA's, there's an armed gate over there, so you're not getting in. So of course, they'd want to maintain that site security to the power plant. We talked about improved connectivity to the town. And then ways to sell additional power directly to adjacent tenants. So next steps would be to work with people who share land and maybe be able to sell electricity if it works out amongst them and have some cheaper electric rates, because the state did pass that law where you can do that. Hi.
I'm
Soaking it in. Lots of different graphs and so your high solar voltaic, battery storage, your medium uses, biofuel production, data center, maritime industrial, and hydrogen production. So yes, biofuel production is the big one that would benefit from rail. And those are a lot of the phone calls that I've been wielding. I know the state's been wielding, and but it's my conversation with the rail is I need to know who makes that final decision to make the tracks no longer exempt. So who made them exempt in the first place? Was it the state? Was it federal government? Was it CSX? And then how do they become unexempt? And does it require different
That's all part of a state DOT deal, I believe.
Yeah, so I've tried to deal with, people who are interested in the site from away, who've had conversations with rail, have told me, and I shared this with the person I spoke to from CSX, that they like to see diversification. Sort of like the town likes to see diversification. They don't want one giant user. The town doesn't want one giant user at the end of the road again. So when I mentioned that to the gentleman with the rail, he said he'd forward it to that person. 'Cause I need to know numbers, because people are asking about Sprague. They're asking about biofuel on that site, if that were to become available, and how it, without the rail, it's pretty much a snow bill. So I need to know numbers from the rail. How do we get it to no longer be exempt? And then I need the information from these biofuel people on how many loads can you do, and then what other offerings could be at the site that would bring additional users that will make the rail.
But CSX not gonna do it unless there's enough revenue, potential revenue.
Correct, potential revenue, and the other thing I'm hearing is diversification.
Yeah.
It's long gone are the days that there's a paper mill there, we're just gonna go straight, yeah, we'll do it for the paper mill.
Right. Cause there's a lot of work to that rail to bring it back, isn't it? And it's not even the same size as, isn't it smaller? Is it-
It's, the rail that we have now is acceptable for industrial rail only, it's not acceptable for any passenger rail. It's not, because there's money in industrial.
From experience with the rail, I'd be very surprised if it ever worked, because the problem is that there's so many different companies involved with the rail lines in Maine. And every time it goes from one rail line to the other, everybody wants a big piece of the pie. And the rail line, I mean, it's a different rail line going into Bangor than it is coming out of Bangor. So it's a very short segment
Right,
that belongs to that rail company.
I see.
And so
So it makes it challenging.
anything that is probably is gonna come in there is probably gonna be involved with at least 3 rail lines.
Who owns what goes in and who owns what goes out?
Oh, I don't remember those details, and I know that the players have changed a lot, but
Yeah.
I know, like, we would try to rail stuff in from Brownville Junction.
Yep.
So there was one rail line that went from Brownville Junction to Bangor, and then got picked up by a different rail line. I think the Brownville Junction one may go all the way to Searsport, but it doesn't come down on this side of the river.
Gotcha.
And I think that's CP, Canadian Pacific, is I think the one they call CP, and there is a.
So consequently, what happened is we never railed, we stopped railing stuff in and we stopped railing stuff out.
And just so everyone knows, part of the rail has been ripped up.
Yeah.
It's not there.
So, and what is the biofuel production? What in a snapshot, what is that concept?
So your feedstock from woody biomass, for, heating, and delivery. There's also, jet line fuel as well,
So be bringing in
making it here and
biomass
shipping it out.
products and making a different product out of it that then gets sold up.
Yes, yeah, and there's, the company that was
pellets?
looking here,
Like wood pellets?
I
Are they
don't,
making, or,
not the same concept, but just a different technology. If you guys remember, there was a
One of
company,
the mills up north has just announced, $150 million
Lincoln,
Lincoln, yeah.
those were the people who got the grant in 2019 from MTI and claimed Bucksport as their home, because they were working in conjunction with Dead River. Who owns the tank farm? Dead River owns the tank farm. So with Dead River, and then 2019.
Did that just fall apart this week because of Trump or something?
No, I think you're talking about Are you talking about the $300 million data center in Millinocket?
Yeah, that was the past couple weeks.
That just fell apart recently and was just announced.
That was
But-
before.
But the company, Biofine Developments is the name of the company that's up in Lincoln. They did their grant through MTI here. They're also the ones who signed off on that grant that I applied for to get a BDO zone rating for the town of Bucksport, fuel designated zone. They did give us a letter of support, as did the city of Old Town.
So I have two questions.
Yeah.
So, what does this Jera Americas really want to do down the end of the street? Because I've heard buzz, everything from add more generation to megawatts of battery storage. Have they unveiled anything that they're seriously looking at or inching towards?
A lot of the information in this came with their input. They spoke with the town and really want to work together with the town on those plans. So anything that you see here was discussed between both. You know, what would be the most beneficial for the town and what would work. So Jera has a lot of unused electricity, right? So they're only permitted to run a certain amount of time per year, and then they need authorization from the governor's office on energy to
Yeah.
run anything more than that number.
Yeah, I understand there are ISO, New England, Black Diamond, all 186 megawatts online in 20 minutes. And I've also heard they have fuel issues when there's lots of natural gas around. They can, but in the wintertime, they might have to go to oil, and it's not. But anyway, and then the back half of the question was, I haven't gotten through all the slide set yet, but I will. And they, in the end, does Maine, all these acronyms, MESRP, have
before you leave?
anyone laying in the wings to, have they had any inquiries about Bucksport with that we're one of 6 communities that they picked, so.
That the state picks, yep. Auburn, Wiscasset,
Yeah.
Bucksport, Millinocket, Lincoln.
But are they out
Everybody's-
actively marketing?
They're done. No, their job wasn't to market. Their job was to create this report. This report creates buzz and creates the people that contact the town, players like Maine and Company, contact DECD, contact local representatives, legislators.
Okay.
So, yes, and then a lot of this comes back to part of my job responsibility, part of Jera's due diligence as well. If they want to bring somebody online over there for that, so it's really it's really kind of a partnership, and sort of like how when we were trying to find users for the mill. I'll go out and find, we'll talk, does it match the goals? And this clearly outlines the goals that we have out there, is what we're looking for, really, to grow that industrial base, but tax base, but to do it with clean energy.
Gotcha. Sorry, I think I cut John Paul off.
You don't have to go back to slide, but I assume that last slide, high is favorable, low is very unlikely,
Yes,
either because of cost or benefit.
cost
A
benefit,
common-
yeah, 100%.
And some of those uses would require more land for JIRA, wouldn't they?
Yep,
So that's just another wrinkle.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so if there's no other questions, look at the report. If you have anything, like I said, Jacob, when he came back to the town, he jumped on the committee as well, so he's familiar with the report and the players, and so everybody's been quite involved with that.
Who's in charge down there right now? Who's the person?
The local person?
Yeah.
I know Greg Nutter.
Right.
But there is one other person, and his name escapes me. I had his card on my desk. I just know Greg because he's an Arena customer as well. And he's always in the office when we go over.
Is it Jared? Is that his name?
Jared Murray?
Yeah.
No, he went to Nine Dragons, and then I think he went down to Sappy. But he was for a while.
All right, if we're done with that, review of the 2021 marketing plan, 2019 economic development strategy, and 2018 adapt plan, and 2018 heart and soul, 82 actionable items.
Okay, so in the February Economic Development Committee meeting, requested that we, take a look at some of these plans and reports that we have, see where we're at, what we have done, what can we possibly do. Do you want to take it from newest to oldest, oldest to newest? Do you want to go with stuff in front of us? Whatever the committee's pleasure is.
It's in front of us.
All right. Design Lab created the marketing plan. Marketing plan was done in 2021. I will say that a lot of the marketing plan and the marketing plan itself was, a lot of it was contingent upon the TIF from Whole Oceans. So of all the plans, this one might have the least amount done to it, but we can look at it and maybe we can tackle some different things. So, logos, taglines, consistency of voice and internal, external communication, new resident webpage on the current town website, develop new town of Bucksport website. So we've handled the website, kept the tagline the way it was, kept the logo as it was. Pitch deck. Really hadn't gotten on with that one. Retractable banners we have not done. Use social media platforms to promote the quality of life in Bucksport. I think there's a lot of groups on Facebook, and then the town tries to do that as well. Collaboration between the town and its committees. There's so obviously the Historical Society is still around. Terry's still doing the coalition. The Garden Club is around. Members of Heart and Soul are around if we need to talk, or if there's anything that people want to gravitate towards. But unfortunately, Main Street, Bucksport, and the Chamber are no longer around. Recruit local ambassadors to represent Bucksport as a great place to live for use on social media and the web. Again, there's some of those pages on the website. Bucksport Main area events and different people who share and post content there. Start Here social media campaign targeting young families, develop and provide opportunity for life brochures to the human resource departments of Whole Oceans. MMA and other local businesses to encourage new hires to consider Bucksport as a place to live. We didn't, obvious reasons, a lot of that didn't happen. Develop a general economic development brochure that builds on the pitch deck, create new welcome package. A lot of the year two stuff did not happen. Promo products with town logo, quite a bit of that did happen. Matter of fact, we have one hat left. Increase public relations and media communication, as that says earned. Anytime there's good news,
You can still get a fair amount of that.
we do. Matter of fact, they'll be coming, filming live again on July 18th. WVII comes the day before the Bay Festival. Support local quality place initiatives by continued collaboration with Connect Maine to expand broadband initiative. Actually, that's a funny story on that. Orland just went through a whole thing to get fiber, and Bucksport's actually going to benefit from that. From the hub here out towards Orland, they have to be able to get out that way. So this section is going to be done, and then there was a grant that's been applied for the entire downtown and village area to get Fidium fiber as well.
Fidium?
Yeah, I've been working with Fidium.
And make sure that gets up to 11 Buckley Lane.
I've seen the map, you are covered. I've seen the map and I am covered. Which is good, so,
It is good.
yeah, so our folks in Orland did us a huge favor and, developed 30-second community spotlight video for use on social and TV. We've been doing the commercials. We have they're gonna re-air again April, May, and June, and that will be the end of that campaign. Sustain social media communication. Try to post when we can, when I can get on and do that, share posts. Again, there's a lot of groups who are doing that right now. Bucksport Maine area events, Positivity Bucksport, and there are more who are doing that. Continue development of the downtown walking path. So we've got that grant that talked about what we need to redo. I do need to get with Alan because he was supposed to do a survey for us for Hoffman's.
Did
I haven't heard back from him. He said that the winter was a good time for him, but I gotta, that's on me.
if you remind me, I'll reach out to him.
Okay. So, because Heidi was amenable to rerouting the walkway, one thing she wanted to make sure was that the poem that one of her family members did on that rock, that it ends up on the property so that people can see it, since that section will be closed off. Continue to develop age-friendly program and healthy community partnerships with Maine Development Foundation, AARP, and Department of Health and Human Services. That is still happening. Town-wide wayfinding sign system, that will be included with the downtown grant for rehabbing the downtown. Create town kiosk and digital communication board. A lot of towns have used the T-Mobile grant to do this. And I've held off to find the best possible use of T-Mobile funds, and currently it's looking like the playground. But there's a lot of things that, and that's a $50,000 grant, so there's still time. Replace interpretive panels on the walking path using updated branding. We didn't end up changing our brand, so the town logo, which appears on the Main Street Bucksport Museum in the Street stuff, it's done. Ongoing development of the website and social media platforms. Again, we got the brand new website. Collaborate with other communities. I've done that on a few occasions. I went down for a meeting in Surrey. I've been to Stonington. I've been at a bunch of different little communities around us. Collaborate with coastal and interior economic development agencies. We have quarterly economic development meetings up in Bangor. Create partnerships with art and cultural institutions. Work with Whole Oceans and May Maritime to host industry seminars and training. Multi-use trail investments. We did spend quite a bit of money to rehab the Miles Lane trails. Development of a dog park. Continued library development. Library is doing a good job on their end. Diversity and inclusion, public art, more walking trail development, promote tourism opportunities, and encourage quality of life services, including childcare, food delivery, and the such. So that's where we're at with that. Is there any questions, anything anybody would like us to maybe focus on off of the marketing plan?
Well, the seminars that were brought up, Maine Maritime and Whole Oceans.
Mhm.
What was that like what you and I talked about when I brought up the idea, went down and talked with you a couple weeks ago? Was that-
Similarly,
Similar,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
'cause, well, what I was talking to Rich about with seminars is we have a lot of good people that come up here in the summertime, very well-connected people. And one of the things I was thinking about, for lack of a better way to put it, was to have a seminar for one day and try to invite some of these well-connected people into a meeting and ask what kind of widget can we build up here that might take off. So it's like anything else, you're looking for something that would be producible. We have a great robotics team, years and years now, they've been doing a great job up there. Well, you hear the term robotics all the time now, all right? Well, don't think of robotics as just walking. Robots are the size of little tiny things in warehouses, doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, we came in third in the world, so if you're gonna talk about things, what kind of widgets, what kind of robots, what kind of wrench, I don't know what it is. But I do know a lot of good people who are well-connected, come up through our area, stay in our area even. That it would be nice if we could find a way to do a one-day seminar to invite some of these folks that are well-connected and maybe come up with some ideas on what could be good for Bucksport. That was my thought on the seminars. There you go.
I like that idea.
It's just how do you put it together and,
How do you find the connected tract?
yeah. Well, you got like Silvernail, I think is the gentleman. Yeah, I mean, I understand he's gonna be up here most of the summer. You know, my gosh, you can't get better connected. So how many people does he know throughout the industry and what kind of robotics are they doing or anything else that we could produce here that would bring us tax revenue and utilize whatever we're educating our young people to that could be useful afterwards. So just thoughts that I'm having on what can we do to move forward and not look just down the road 6 months or a year, but 5 years and take the resources we have and work with them.
Just on the last sentence, encourage quality of life, okay, childcare, food, but solar projects, are you talking about solar projects on people's houses' roofs? Because I thought it was voted not to have any solar farms, is that within the town of Bucksport?
No, so solar farms are permittable in the industrial zone. Some of the places where they've been proposed are not in those zones, so you'd have to go through a contract zone change. So for example, the 33 acres by Drake's Lane was R15, and so it wasn't permitted there, and the council chose not to allow a contract zone change. So they moved the project from there to the old Verso log yard, right behind the landfill, and which is an industrial site, and that's where they located that. And then there was an example in the C2 district by Carriers, not by, but behind the Wasson House. That was the C2, and the town council did permit that. This is potentially for community solar. I'm trying to remember, this was 4 years ago, but it could have also been for like House of Pizza. They have solar panels on their roof.
Oops,
Right,
I
so
can see that.
it's a benefit for them. Childcare, since I've been here, and I know since Dave's
Solar
here.
projects, I
Yeah,
just wanted
just the
to
solar one.
to get
Okay.
a better concept of what that included.
And I'm trying to remember. John Paul, I think, was on this committee, and Mark, were you?
I think I was.
Mark was. Yeah, and I'm not. Larry, were you on this? No. I think there's still 3 of us around who were part of this marketing plan.
But a lot of that, I mean, a lot of the stuff we are kind of taking on
Yeah, as
as we can, as much as we can.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of the funding, even the plan itself was supposed to be funded through the Whole Oceans TIF.
That never happened.
That never happened.
Anybody that's listening out there needs to know.
Yeah, the TIF hasn't happened, but the town still has been able to accomplish some of the items on there. Now, not as much as some of the other plans, but we have to remember some of those other plans were 2017, 2018. So, let's come over here to this one is the
So I think.
this adapt. And a lot of the stuff you'll see in the reports is redundant. A lot of the stuff appears in all the reports because if it hadn't been done yet, it's just pushed forward to that this needs to be done. And this, correct me if I'm wrong, but Heart and Soul is the exact same thing. You pick a project champion, then some sub partners to get the project completed, and then your resources to make things happen. So market the Buckstown Heritage Park, for example, that's economic development. Potential partners, Chamber of Commerce, Whole Oceans, existing park tenants, right? And then resources, you can TIFs, Maine DECD grants, murder grants. So we've filled the Buckstown Heritage Park. So in my mind, that's a check. And that was a long-term 5-year project, and this report was in 2018. So we filled the lots in 2023. So we were able to do that in 5 years. Create a K-12 aquaculture program. Identify need and explore feasibility of a campus. Enhanced waterfront park. Guidelines for a Main Street area with a focus on encourage water-oriented buildings and uses. Expand the town marina to include a restaurant with event space through a public-private partnership along with expanded boat capacity.
So just a little backup, for those who maybe aren't as familiar with this plan. It was a grant, I forget where it came from the state.
Federal government, the EPA.
Government. When the mill closed, ADAPT, I forget exactly what it stood for, but it was redevelopment of the mill site. Now, in the process, during the time that the plan was being developed, Oceans bought the site, so it kind of fast forwarded to other things besides just the mill site. Not really what the initial intent of the grant was. The grant was intended to come up with a strategy for marketing, developing the mill site. Too bad we didn't stick to that. But just you know, so those who maybe aren't as familiar with the background behind it, that's on.
Yeah, and John Paul was on that committee, and I think just John Paul and I are left. So you see, ongoing. So at the time, we were running the Dock, Dine, and Shop commercials. We were running the ads in magazines. We were running the ads in the newspapers, and it was really catching on. And then we started a lot of focus. A lot of people wanted to focus on change was left at the light. So we did change the marketing a little bit to focus on two lefts make a right. So visit the fort, take a left out of the fort, take a left out of the light, right into the heart of downtown Bucksport. So like I said, there's about 3 months left on that. But that was very good. We got a lot of good feedback on it. And I noticed some other communities started to using a different variation of that. So this was quite a large, tap into the 3-ring binder. 3-ring binder was bought out by First Light, and we've had several conversations with First Light, and that's really focused on, what they wanted to do was focus on the campus because it runs right by the mill site, and then connect it to Heritage Park, extend the fiber down Main Street, and create community Wi-Fi spots. But First Light really wants to only do business and not residential, so that kind of eliminates all that. However, Fidium Fiber can fill that need. So it's not like it's gone away, it's just that person that bought the 3-ring binder, it didn't fit in their mission, what we were looking to do. I mean, for Heritage Park, yes, but Brandon Lindsay, while they were up in the Heritage Park, was able to get us some good internet up there already, so. Extend wastewater infrastructure along River Road to provide services to proposed workforce housing development. That's that 33-acre parcel we talked about, and then include the Sprague site. That is one of the hard things that I'm coming across now as I try to market that site, is that the water and sewer don't go down there, and the 3-phase power doesn't either, but it's not that far away. It's closer than most people would think. So we're trying to overcome those objections. Create public online portal with information regarding the water system, that's ongoing. Require a traffic impact study for major development projects, that was happening at that time. Prohibit negative truck activities on Main Street, I think we've been doing that. Work with private businesses and property owners to incorporate using design elements. I think like Ron Russell's Airbnb. He has that unique artwork that's right out front. I don't want to say it's art, it's
Kinetic sculpture.
Thank you, yep. Adopt the Fish program, for obvious reasons, that hasn't happened. Work with DOT to create and implement a complete streets corridor enhancement plan, that's done, we're waiting for funding on that. Encourage construction of new senior housing. My cause has helped complete that need. Promote apartments and condos on and near Main Street, the 27 Main Street project. Facilitate development of a workforce neighborhood. That was the Penquist project. Extend the walkway through the project area. Unfortunately, due to security, that won't happen the way that we probably would like to see it. But I think we can make it another way to make it connectable to the sidewalk right before you get to the property. Community trail system plan. And then all these have different people who are supposed to focus on these, and then the potential partners. Reuse the Mill Fitness site as a public community fitness center. Well, we know that's a church. Expand the footprint and functionality of the hub by closing North Franklin Street. The church bought that property over there as well, so that will most likely not happen. Transform the existing office building into a co-working center. Well, that's Maine Maritime Academy. So again, a lot of these plans are getting to the point where they're getting a little bit older, and certain things have happened that prohibit what the report says.
That's good, though, that we've seen some movement.
Yes. Oh gosh, don't look at that thing. I scanned that in bad. This, I believe, is the 82 items from the Heart and Soul. And again, similarly, your impact, the feasibility of them happening, and who are the leaders and collaborators. Annual cleanup day, that stuff happens. The next one's April 26th. Broadcast all municipal meetings, that's happening as we speak. Develop an anti-litter program. Establish a downtown beautification program, that's happened. Establish a bird watching program. Not sure what that is. Continue holding block parties. That was Heart and Soul. Did quite a few of those. Part of the cleanup day is going to be a barbecue. So similarly, I'm not sure anybody will be, people will be speaking, but I'm not sure if it'll be similar to what Heart and Soul actually did, where they were getting people's stories. Install buddy benches downtown, that's happened. Expand connect the trail systems. Expand the bus and taxi service to more than once a week, that's now twice a week. Expand the buy local program. I think Main Street Bucksport did a great job of that with the Bucks program. Bangor Savings Banks does a Bowie local program. Develop water quality education improvement program for the river. I'm not sure how much for the river, but I know for the Silver Lake that's happened. Develop a program where Bucksport businesses reduce use of plastic bags. The state of Maine took care of that. organize a cookbook club and cooking classes. Main Street Bucksport did something very similar. They created a cookbook and there was a grant that was received, and John Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was from Maine Community Foundation where there was a program where that woman cooked meals as part of another
Yeah.
program.
It started and didn't get completed, but yes. Utilizing the Brown Hall.
Brown Hall, that's, yeah. Youth Civic Leadership Program, add improved directional and wayfinding signage, build a dog park, develop a program for volunteers to assist elders with gardening and cleanup. Not similarly, but something that kind of resembles something to that nature is the village that Emily Fitzgerald spearheads. Enhance trail systems with exercise station along the trails, provide nature walks at the Miles Lane trails. I know groups have done that. Expand the downtown flower program. There are more flowers on Main Street. At one point, Main Street Bucksport worked with local merchants and the old barrels that were used for Christmas trees. They had done some flowers. Develop a farm to school program to promote healthy foods in the school. I think their farm up by the school is named after your wife. At the Miles Lane School.
Dedicated
Dedicated to Melissa Lalonde. And of course, there's now the greenhouse up at the middle school, the outdoor classroom with the pizza oven. So the RSU's done a great job there. Form Friends of Bucksport Trails. I'm not sure if that's happened. Develop a foster grandparent program. I'm not sure if that's happened. Establish a bicycle pedestrian club. Develop a single track mountain bike trail.
That
Land trust, right?
certainly has happened on Great Pine
Great Pine Mountain, yeah, which is who they
Right.
put on there.
Yep.
Establish a year-round farmers market. I know they are really trying to do that. Part of the reason for them moving to their new location is the hopes to be able to be in Brown Hall over the winter to continue that. So, and if you're not aware, the farmers market, I believe opening day is May 15th, and it's going to be in the Elm Street Congregational Church's parking lot.
Why isn't it gonna be behind the post office?
They wanted to move it for a few reasons. They've kind of outgrown that space, so they can only do so much. They want to build a relationship with the church so that they can become a year-round. And they're concerned when the construction project happens down here that they'll need to find a new space anyway. So they wanted to get a head start on it and see how that space worked this year. And if that didn't work, it would give them time for somewhere else. So.
Yeah, a side benefit, maybe people realize there's a parking lot there.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you know, because there will be signage telling them where to find the farmers market and stuff. So yeah, that's a very good plan. Establish more waterside picnic areas. We've added a lot of picnic tables since I've been on the waterfront. Plant more trees throughout town. Hold an annual community volunteer fair. That's happened. Create a welcome packet for new residents. Initiate a community reading day throughout the RSU. I believe that does happen. Senior college program to Bucksport. That one escapes my mind if that has happened or not.
I'm not
Something
aware
was
of
in the works, but establish community drug task force supporting existing work being done. We do a lot of work with Healthy Acadia, institute a street art program, expand the school garden beyond Miles Lane. I had mentioned about the middle school has the greenhouse. Provide free Wi-Fi throughout the village compact area. Well, does the waterfront count? We've done that. Provide and install bike racks in town. I think we finally found where the bike racks ended up. Build a playground on the waterfront. We've got the swings. We've had one business donate to the swings. I'd like to thank CNS.
Yeah, CS.
CS.
Yeah, CS Bishop, yeah.
Build a bocce court on the waterfront. That has not happened. Even though I've tried, I've measured areas. We've moved all the granite blocks that used to be down there. So now it's getting closer. Redesign Rufus Guggen's Park. So this was shifted over. Main Street Bucksport was going to do something on here. Then there was some legal documents from when Rufus Guggen's Park was transferred to the town. That responsibility of that fell to, I believe, the Garden Club. Thank you. Yes. So that's where that's at.
We had, what's his name?
Matthew Cunningham?
Cunningham was designing that, and then it got put on hold because of the whole Main Street project, so hopefully that gets revisited.
Yeah, I've had a conversation with him, not about that, but he's nice to talk to, and
Yep.
he owns the building across the street, if you guys aren't aware, the old stained glass building. Expand the Y program to have a youth activity coordinator, develop after school program for middle school students, that's done, build the multi-generational playground. That hasn't happened yet, but I've been working on that. And we'll take it back up in July. Take steps to expand the marina and boat access improvement. So as part of that, every slip, every float at the marina is now brand new within the last 5 years. The oldest slips were up to 26 years old. So everything is new there. Establish a small business co-op, find space and develop a
Before you go any
community.
further,
Yeah.
talk about what's gonna be happening there with the marina. Aren't you gonna be building more docks and stuff?
No,
What happened? I thought
the
you-
marina's all done. You mean the town dock?
Yeah.
Oh, that's different. I'm sorry. Yes, the town dock. Yeah, we got the $4.1 million grant to replace the existing 315-foot seasonal wooden dock into a 400-foot concrete year-round dock with ADA access. And then an additional $850,000 coming from the trust to add a 2-inch water line hydrant, 3-phase power, and make the pier itself more resilient as well.
That's quite an improvement,
That is a huge improvement.
yes. So I thought that would be mentionable.
Timing of that?
We're waiting on the environmental piece. I was hoping that we were getting it out to bid in March. That was the goal of everybody involved. And there's a form that our contractors have sent into HUD's Environmental that has not had any action taken on it. And it's been there for about a month and a half. So we don't want to put it out to bid without knowing that the environmental stuff passed.
Any risk of that money disappearing? Always a risk.
Always risk. I've had continual conversations with our liaison. So nothing there, but we haven't heard back from HUD in a couple of weeks, so that's a little concerning. Because it was myself, and then the consultant also sent a second email. Like I said, we've had everything else done. We're ahead of the game. They were actually impressed that I didn't have to call and ask questions about how to use the system or do anything. I just followed the instructions and attend every webinar they have, so we're ahead of the game. If something were to happen to me, Jacob and Rachel are already in line to take over. So I mean, we're just waiting. We could send it out to bid tomorrow if we knew the federal environmental piece that NOAA was concerned about was taken care of. Develop more entertainment and make more use of the Bucksport Performing Arts Center. We had a comedian this year. Some upgrades have happened. More are needed. Establish a facade improvement program for businesses. So we did the Downtown District Exterior Improvement Grant. Again, we were going to use TIF funds from Whole Oceans, but we thought it was necessary to continue with the positive forward momentum. We took it out of another line item. Develop the Upper Silver Lake Trail Systems. Develop a master plan for bathroom facilities on Bucksport Trail System. Instead of doing bathrooms, we've added porta potties. And the porta potties used to sit at the Miles Lane soccer fields. And a lot of people had requested that they be moved over towards the racecourse road section. So I obliged, and that's where it actually resides now. So you got 2 at the middle school, you've got 2 at the high school softball field, 2 at Ian's playground, 2 at Reggie Gann, and then you have that one up on that end of the trails. Hire a marketing planner for Bucksport. Well, we had a marketing plan done. Building nursing home in Bucksport. Build a skate park that is done and being worked on to expand and make better. Add more sculptures on the waterfront. There was a smaller one that was added by the late Mary Jane Bush and Sue Davis that sits right by the big sculpture. Establish bottle and can return program to benefit municipal projects. That actually might come in handy for projects like the animal shelter. might be a good idea now that we have a returnable place back in town. Expand commercial activity on the waterfront, develop vendor booths along the waterfront. So bury power lines along Main Street, build condominiums downtown, that's 27 Main Street, establish a children's museum, Silver Lake more recreational, create Bucksport History Center. I don't know, paper making museum.
You may not have noticed, but these things aren't in order from 1 to 82. What they're in order of is kind of the feasibility. So you see these last ones are all low feasibility. They were either gonna cost too much or the benefit was low, so they were ranked low. So just a little explanation of why those were like that.
Yep, that's right. And this one, we do the microloans, the offer financial assistance for merchants. And I think you could even include the downtown district exterior improvement grant also helped out. And some people went well above and beyond the 10,000 that we gave them to make even additional improvements and enhancements to their buildings on the outside. So I'd say that program was an overall success. I wish more people would have participated, but we talked about the marketing plan. I guess the last one here is and I'm sorry, this is me scanning it into the scanner. I will get this changed because this is what it looks like on the website and that's embarrassing. I will fix that. This was the economic development strategy of 2019. So a lot of the same things. Support Ironclad with its power plant. Well, now that's JERA. We just did the MESRF grant with them, so we've done that. Support Whole Oceans. Support Maine Maritime Center Academy. Develop an off-ramp for the 3 ring binder for the businesses at the industrial site. Again, we've talked about that. Attract more businesses. Support business incubation. Offer workshops. We've done a lot of... so this report tells you like a lot of things, a lot of this stuff was ongoing. Business incubation in 2020. We talked about offer workshops such as business startups and marketing. We did that in 2020. Solicit services from a marketing and branding specialist. We did the marketing plan. Market, dock, dine, and shop. We've done that. Create a sidewalk plan that addresses adding, repairing, replacing sidewalks. We repaired and replaced some sidewalks. Expand the waterfront walking trail to beyond Bucksport House of Pizza. Started that, was waiting on the railroad, and that's hit a roadblock. Revitalized the unused rail tracks on the waterfront to include dining options. Promote waterfront entrance to Main Street businesses, include signage on the water side. Some of the businesses have done that. Developed town-owned lot at 27 Main Street. We've sold the lot. Developed a vacant lot owned by Ledbetter across the street from Bucksport Enterprise. We've tried. Address accessibility from Main Street to the waterfront. That I think is going to be, you'll see a lot of that as part of the downtown plan with DemDOT. Market and develop the Sprague North site ad nauseum. I'm dealing with that. Promote high quality design elements to enhance the aesthetics to the industrial site and surrounding areas. Investigate reestablishing the Bucksport Economic Development Corporation. Developed workforce housing in the 33-acre parcel by AIM. It was determined that it was too wet, so that project most likely won't happen. Develop housing as part of the Park Street expansion. Park Street has been expanded. The property is for sale by the owner. Promote apartments and condominiums on and near Main Street. Again, 27 Main Street. Encourage construction of new senior housing. Mike Hawes. Promote more moderate to high-end housing. Bucks Mills. The Osbornes have a subdivision out there. Produce more moderate to high-end housing. I guess that would be more of what they're doing out there. Provide more balanced inventory of housing throughout the town. Penquist, we're trying to make all that work there. Address blight. I think we did a lot of that with the downtown district area improvement grant. Inventory of homes that may be vacant, condemned, or foreclosed. For a while there, that list was down, and apparently that list is high again. Promote hotel, motel development, childcare, provide more childcare for children 3 years old, address other deficiencies in childcare. We've been meeting regularly with Bucksport Area Childcare Center, other people who've attempted to open childcare centers in town. address transportation as impacts over Lake Estates and any other new senior housing. I believe a lot of that's been put into the bus run. Review town codes to see if changes are needing to encourage housing development. The state's already made some changes that have helped that. Create a plan to convert streetlights to LED and night sky. That's already been done. CMP's done that. Research and take advantage of more solar opportunities. The town, since this report, added the ones over at the wastewater treatment plant. Replace the walls on along Main Street US Route 1. The last two will be started here in 21 days. And develop a cost estimate to move utilities underground on Main Street. And we talked about that. That's cost prohibitive.
Rich, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Thanks for going over all these. I mean, you went over them pretty thoroughly, a lot more than I thought we would, and it's just 7 o'clock, so you did a good job. But maybe, I think it's a common perception that these plans were done and they just sat and nothing's been done with them. Maybe it would be good, and I'd be willing to work with you on this. We go through and all the ones that have been done or in the works, we somehow publicize. I don't know what the best avenue would be, but get word out that we are doing things.
And it's tough to get the word out because we don't have a paper anymore, but
Right.
there's also all the grants, the towns, matching grants that they've been able to acquire in the last 6 or 8 years that people should hear about because it is a good use of taxpayer money.
Yeah, I think I did the grants for the town council in December, but I think we can do something like that. And I like that idea. Try to figure out a way to get the word out that
Things are occurring.
things are occurring, have occurred, even without the whole Oceans TIF. There was a lot that was dependent on that.
We saw, every plan almost, I think, had Main Street, bury the power, but we've been down that road and it's just not feasible.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's cost prohibitive.
I think that would be more effective than listing them all and then people are like, well, you didn't do this one, you didn't do this one.
Yeah.
Just be positive about
What we've done.
We put it on your page, maybe would be the best place for it. Community and economic development.
Yep. If anybody would like to help, I would gladly accept help, ideas, reviews. I think that'd be good. Yes, because the committee's done a lot and has steered us in the right direction. The committee was behind the economic development strategy, this last report that you're looking at. So I'm the one who typed it up and scanned it crooked on the website, but I'll fix that.
So I have a question for you on Maine Maritime.
Yeah.
Okay, how are they doing up there? Because originally they weren't gonna do it because they wanna be down in Portland where there were hotels and all that. Has their business picked up over there? Are they doing the things that they wanna do? And are we providing the space for them that they need?
I think the model shifted, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure how much of it has come back, if that's what you're asking.
I'm just asking
Yeah.
because I don't know, and you mentioned it up here, so
Mhm.
I just wanted to understand what they were really doing up there now.
Well, yeah, Steve. Oh,
Waving to somebody waving to me. Just trying to be nice, Rich, thank you though. I will actually add to that.
Okay,
Stay tuned,
stay tuned. There.
stay tuned.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I'm tuning in. All right.
they've made some announcements recently, if you haven't seen, with the continuing education partnership with Northern Maine Community College for wind turbine. And then they brought back a minor in nuclear.
I saw the nuclear.
Power,
but I
right.
thought that was gonna be down at the other.
Well, it's other things that they're adding to the academy that future could potentially end up here. So right now they got the fire suppression unit building.
Yes.
Part of the building was rented out to the fire marshal's office. At one point, some of the building was rented out to Whole Oceans. It's going to be home of the Bucksport High School prom this year.
Oh.
Yeah, they've hosted the meeting for the dams.
Well, I know they had a meeting there.
Mhm.
Held how many people?
Gosh,
must have
two something.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
at least 200
There
something.
are a lot of people. So it's a big facility.
It's a big facility. So yeah, so I think the director has changed. So one of the professors is running the building. They're on their third president since that building was established 4 years ago. So, yeah, I think they're heading in the right direction.
There was over 300 people in that room when they announced the mill was closing.
Oh, wow.
Everybody got out alive, sort of.
Back to the Heart and Soul list. Garden Club, I understand, wants to do the barrels again, but there are no barrels. Can we make barrels up here,
Make them appear.
make them appear somehow?
I would say that they
Purchase.
probably not purchased. I don't know where the money would come from to purchase those barrels. We can look around. I know when we sent them out the last time, they never came back. It's part of the problem. A lot of them got damaged due to weather, and I know I bought 2 for the waterfront because Ron wanted to add some of those flowers down by the Veterans Memorial, and they're quite expensive, those wine barrels. I want to say it was over $100 for 2 of them.
I'm thinking $42 a piece. So
Yeah, I think they were $55 last year when we bought them, $52 to $55. But I've expended a lot of the waterfront budget this year, so I can review my budget, and do you know how many they would need or want?
I do not know. I just heard that they want to do it again, and I informed them that I don't think there's any barrels left.
Yeah, I don't think so, and the town already gives them quite some money to do flowers in town already as well. Yeah.
All right, if we're moving on, discussion items not on the agenda for committee and public. Steve, do you have anything to add?
Not tonight.
Okay, good.
I know it's getting late, the 5-minute version or less, Rich. Question I have is at the last town council meeting, manager's report, Penquist, you, Jacob, Sue, met with Penquist people. They're revisiting that. Town council rejected not too long ago for a lot of reasons that we did not want to go forward. What's changing?
Communication.
Better.
Communication between both. Now that we have a better grasp of why the CDBG money has not been expended, it makes 100% sense. And not to make excuses for anyone I know personally that about the turnover that they are going through currently, and they did not use that as an excuse. But I talked to the state today, actually about a different question, and she asked about the CDBG, and I explained to her, and she said that this is a reoccurring theme for people who applied in 2024 for 2025, 26 monies, is that just about every project that they approved, costs have gone up astronomically. So she was not surprised to hear this, that there was a delay, and now and this is for the rehab of the buildings, because when they did a full thorough investigation, one of the pieces that they weren't quite sure was gonna be as expensive turns out to be a lot more expensive than they thought. So they're trying to grasp their head around it and how can they make that part work. They haven't abandoned the CDBG, it's just that when they got that report back,
So
it
this
was
is to
higher.
take care of finally the damage department?
Oh, that's that 500,000 CDBG, yes, cause that came up.
That's the part that if they don't spend the money appropriately by 2026, then it hurts Bucksport's ability to receive more funds and more grant money for anything that we want.
Because we signed on to it as a town.
So that's why it was so important for us to make sure that they do what they say they're gonna do, so we can not close any doors for anything.
And now there's not enough money in that 500,000 grant?
No, that's not what I said. They went through and had plans of what they were going to do for overall project and maintenance. And when they got the estimate back for one of the big pieces of the project, I think the estimate originally came in at 200,000, then it came in over 400,000. That's for one piece of their project. That's
What project is this?
the Middle Street Apartments, the old seminary. So they're recouping and trying to figure out a way they can make all of this work with larger numbers and still go forward with the program, which they're going to do. They've made some to the townhouses. They've made some improvements and have taken care of some of the things, but there's a lot more than what they had thought was going to be needed in a bunch of those. And the fire one, I didn't learn about the fire one not being done until you had brought it up at that council meeting. So we talked about that as well. So there are plans to do all this work. They just had to do a
One of the big
reset.
things too was about the over 55, whether it was gonna be open to, correct me if I'm wrong, back in the couple of years ago when they first brought it up, it was gonna be open to over 55, and then the last presentation that we rejected was there was gonna be income barriers applied to,
Elements of it, yeah.
Each building had different criteria, different goals, different targets for each building
Right.
separately. It wasn't a blanket project, correct, Rich?
Yeah, there was some
Yeah.
workforce housing in there. That
Yeah, so the first grant was a very competitive workforce housing grant.
That was the
and
original, as well.
yeah, there was a very small amount of monies available, and I'm trying to grasp my hand around that figure, and I wanna say it was about 33 million. And I think 4 projects got funded out of that, because you could ask for up to 8 point something. So their project was not as competitive as what was approved. And a lot of the cost towards that project was building and extending the road and creating projects. So the next rounds of monies that was available through Misha was low income. And again, Bucksport, even though we've lived through the loss of the mill, still has high income, right? The adjusted income, it's pretty, it's not the highest in 10 communities around us, but it's still above that threshold. So Bucksport is a community that when you fill out that application, because you're doing the project in Bucksport, you start off at 0 points, because Bucksport, it doesn't get any points. It doesn't qualify for the reasons listed on the application. However, if they were to run that same project in Bangor, they start off with 10 points. So if you're basing off of 100, they're already at 10 if they're in Bangor, and they're at 0 Bucksport, so they're behind the 8 ball.
yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So the request for a TIF, now there's other points that they can get, is on municipality involvement. Okay, so a TIF is a way that the municipality can be involved, and instead of your traditional municipal TIF, it's called an ATIF. It's for affordable housing TIF. You can't have any business in the area, and it's strict on what you can have done for. So, like a lot of the stuff we wanted to do through the whole Oceans TIF would never qualify in an ATIF. So to get the most points out of that, and the most points there is 3. You would have to do a 75% TIF over, gosh, I'm trying to remember now, did we say 30 years on that?
It was
30
30
years.
years, 75%
Yeah.
tax reduction over 30 years.
So that's a 3, so that was a 3 points. So yeah, so if they were to do that project in Bangor, and Bangor were to say, yes, we'll give you that, and because they're Bangor, they start off at 13 points. So in that example, the most points we could get is 87. And if they did this project at Bangor, they can get 100. And it's always, the money goes whoever scores the most points. So when they're trying to do projects like this, so they may have needed the TIF, they may have not needed the TIF. I mean, they're not paying taxes up there right now on the property that they own, right? So why do they need a TIF? Well, the town should get money. So this developer who's gonna do this is gonna pay you the 25%, the 25% over the first 15 years, and then it switches, and then at the end. But again, I don't know how the no tax worked on their different assessor at the time.
Yeah, because they're a 501c3 and have been since 1990s, so I read.
Right, but I think there's limitations on that, like churches, for example. You can own a church, but if you own a church and a food bank and a this and a that, you don't get tax-free on all that. That's why the church had to sell the property they had on Silver Lake. You get one property. So I'm thinking that's what this is potentially about, but I'm not the assessor, but so that's where that came about. And TIFs are good. There are places for TIFs and needs for TIFs, and it's a tool that the state of Maine has, because the big things that we fight, and I think all of you would agree, is the electric costs in the state of Maine are absolutely, you can go anywhere else in this country and not pay anywhere near what we pay in the state of Maine, and it makes business prohibitive in this state. So there are things that you have to utilize in your toolbox to try to offset, to try to help developers to make projects happen in your community. Every time there's a no and no answer, or a no, we're not willing to do this, remember that they can locate that project in the state of Maine with high utility cost, or they can locate that project in New York or California or wherever. Most places are a lot more friendly with utility. And I only use utility because that's something I think we can all relate to. So they're working, communication is going to be better amongst all of us. And a plan won't be brought forward until it's deemed that this is something that everybody can, work with, so.
Okay, thanks.
Question.
Thank you, Rich.
We're in a predicament in a way, the town. We were talking about letting people know about what's happening with some of the projects there, blah, blah, blah. We don't have a newspaper anymore. So it's even better if we want to do, like last year, you had the comedy show, whatever, and how are people gonna know what's going on? Do we have any concept maybe of putting up a website on the town site, or things that are happening so that the community can get onto, or?
I don't know if that's something the town's gonna take on. I mean, there's enough of it on Facebook, Joe. I mean, the events and whatnot.
A lot of stuff's on Facebook, so a lot of places aren't. A lot of the other periodicals don't charge what the Enterprise did. The Enterprise was very good to Bucksport. The Bucksport Enterprise is a tremendous loss to this community. So I think you'll see a lot more online. Maybe we can figure out a way to work with Emily and the villages and maybe include a snippets in the news publication that she does. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very important that what you're saying, yes, the Bucksport Enterprise was a huge loss.
I get the Penobscot Press, I think, I saw it, and they email me it every week, and they cover from Brunswick all the way up to Damascus, and I list every town, everything that's happening in it. It would be nice if the towns around here could, it's not on us, but it would be nice if that was happening also. Then each town could list what is happening, what is going on. Because if someone doesn't buy that, then in the future, we really have to think of some way to communicate even to people, what is going on. We lost a restaurant, and now we're gonna, and we lost a paper. That's quite bad.
Yeah. The Ellsworth American does a good job of covering Bucksport and the local news stations. I have rapport with quite a few of them, so, yeah. Things are gonna look up, Joe.
I got my own quote.
Just an awareness, I don't know, maybe people all know this, but Northeast Historic Film got a big grant cut. And so they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do about big project they had in place and their existing programs.
Anyone else? All right.
Schedule next.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Well, we'll do the schedule next meeting for May 12th.
Well,
For you,
right
Dick?
there, it's right there.
Fair enough. Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Thank you.